Well, one more word about this picture. This was out our window in Porto Alegre. We rented a room from a family who were renting rooms. Anyway, and this is the Feira. This is the street market once a week, and it's a lot of people do major shopping right here. They get all their fruits and vegetables and meats and everything, and then the thing just poof, it's all gone. You hear it starting early in the morning, and by nightfall it just disappears. Nothing there, and that's just a street there the next day. Well, let's see. This is me and Elder Lever's room. And you can see a few things. That's Elder Lever's girlfriend up there on the left. And that's his wife now, to this day. That's pretty cool. That girl up on the right is my girlfriend. Was my girlfriend. I'm afraid that's a past tense. Let's see, what else is in there? There's a Cruzeiro stuck to the window, and there's, see this thing that's over our bed? That's a mosquito net. And one night I accidentally let my hand get up against that mosquito net. And in the morning I had 151 mosquito bites on my right hand. Anyway, we really had a mosquitoes issue. And then I don't know what that is, a red moon, I think. Oh, we're back on my mission in Brazil. That's probably frost on the window. We didn't have any internal heating, inside heating, so it was as cold inside as it was outside, pretty near. Another huge Catholic church. And there's this was in Joinville. It's the original church building for the church is here in this town. One of the oldest towns in Brazil, actually. Anyway, it's mostly Joinville. It's mostly German folks. And not too far from there is the city of Blumenau, this is a big muddy river that goes up a lot of beautiful, it's not a beautiful river, a lot of big rivers. Oh dear, where am I here? Oh my goodness. I'm probably back in Kodiak. Never can tell what's going to pop up here. Back on my mission in Brazil, Catholic influence again. Big crucifix. And that is a anthill. And that's a member of the branch. And he took us on a diversion day, he took us sport fishing. And I don't remember catching anything. It wasn't too impressive. But that was an amazing anthill. Oh, here on another diversion day, we went to a place called Torres. And it was a cliff. There was a beach off to the left and a beach off to the right, and this cliff stuck out right there. And there's this, it's about 100 feet down to the water. And here's this piece of stone that's hanging on the side of this mountain with a crack, and Elder Harris and I decided to go sit on it. I do not know what, I think the Lord must be with missionaries. Anyway, the cool thing was, as we stood up there, I could see these schools of fish going by, and they were about the size of salmon. They were called tainha. And the only commercial fishing was, see that circle splash in the water? It was a casting net. Guy'd stand on the rock, throw his net out there, try and time it just right so it'd settle over one of these schools of fish. And then that's how they were fishing. That's the extent of their commercial fishing. I could just see it would be so easy. All the fish were moving from right to left. They were just chugging along one school after another. If I'd had a good seiner there and a good seine in a few minutes, I could have loaded up. But I don't know what they were. No, okay, that's the same place. I'm trying to look beautiful here. That's the same area. Miles of beach. Neat beach, though. And then this little rocky thing jet out. Oh my goodness. What was her name? That's me and Elder Utter. And look at us in the three-piece suits. That was a German sister, and she was a choir director. And she took us elders, me especially, and taught me how to sing the bass part. And my first attempt at being in a choir. And I learned it thanks to her. I can't remember her name. Sweet lady. Anyway, there she is again. Oh, that's Elder Cook, Elder Utter, and Elder Cook's companion must be taking the picture, and that's me on the right. I'll think of her name in my sleep tonight. Here's another picture of one of our outings up in the mountains. There's a district of missionaries. Oh, this was a sweet experience. This lady on the right, the yellow dress, was just baptized. We met her and gave her a copy of the Book of Mormon. Judah C. Pinedo, I think was her name, Judah C. Pinedo. Anyway, we gave her a copy of the Book of Mormon. She read it from cover to cover in 3 days and came to us and said she wanted to be baptized. So wait a minute, we need to teach you all these lessons. Well, whatever, but that was it. She had a testimony of the Book of Mormon that was unshakable. And I suspect she always, still does and always will. That's the kind of lady she was, smart as a whip. This was a boat Elder Hunter and I went on board, and Santa Cruz do Sul in Brazil. And I am not sure, probably a cargo vessel. Pretty sure this is a vessel that I went on with a guy. They were from English-speaking, British. And we told him we were missionaries, and he whipped out this big bowie knife and stuck it to my neck and says, "So tell me if you believe it or not." Anyway, it was quite challenging. I told him I did. I hoped he was bluffing, but anyway. There was our district, and I don't remember all the elders' names, except yep. Yeah, this was the Kruger family, Kruger with two dots over the U, German folks. Brother Kruger was a fisherman and not a member of the church, but Sister Kruger was, and her daughters all were. And actually, Judah C. Pinedo was a friend of those daughters, and that's how she was introduced to the church. And that's Elder Utter and myself. And we ate our dinners with them every day. And Brother Kruger was a fisherman, so we talked fishing stories, but I didn't know all the words in Portuguese. Having been a missionary, I knew all the words that had to do with things in the scriptures, but words outside of that were kind of new to me. But anyway, he's the guy that I tried to mend his net. And I trimmed out the hole so that I could all mend it, but it was monofilament. And I didn't have a mending needle, and I couldn't, and the knots all slipped, and it was a nightmare. And finally, I left his net worse shape than I found it. I felt guilty about that. He was kind of mad at me, too. It was obvious. Anyway, I didn't touch his net anymore after that. There he is. There's Brother Kruger, the fisherman. He would make his own net. He'd sit in the evenings and sew net on a stick. He'd tie all the knots and slip it off the stick, and that'd be a row of meshes. Then he'd move to the next row of meshes, and he'd put that all together. And we had lunch with them every day. That was where our lunch stop was. Anyway, super cool people, Krugers. There's just passed away. There is President Turner. President Turner and Elder Koch, who was I think a district president or something, and some other brethren that I don't remember their name, and me and my companion. When I got back off my mission, I went to a reunion just about 10 years ago, and President Turner was still alive and well and funny as ever. He said, the way you remember his name is you think of Pancake Turner, but he said the pancakes all go flat or something like that. I can't remember. Pretty funny guy. Again, more of the interesting influence there. This was the train station in Joinville. You see the slides backwards? I see in only view Joinville spelled backwards. Anyway, neat building and Catholic Church. This again is Joinville, and that little steeple right there is, I'm pretty sure that was our church. And we took a ride on a train. Train was a narrow gauge train. It was really a fun diversion day that we had. And I don't know what we're centered on here, but that's Elder Lever and myself. And that's something, I think whoever took it wasn't looking out the right hole. Here's this fish called tahinia, saltwater fish. Still to this day, no idea what it is. But I do know that I could have showed them a better way of catching it. Back to Brazil again. Here's this narrow gauge train as we went up through the banana. These are banana trees down here. Yeah, as we went up into the mountains on this little narrow gauge train. And more train station. I think we were pretending to fish. These are got into a forest of bamboo. Fascinating pieces of wood. Now, I don't know where we are. There's a bell. Might be on that ship still. I don't know what the point of this was. Oh, these trains were steam engines. And that's all firewood that fired the steam engines. Oh, there it is. That was it. I mean, that's maybe functioning to this day, but that was the deal right there. Narrow gauge trains, little ancient-looking trains, and they just chugged up the mountain like you wouldn't believe. Here's the fifth branch, first opened. When I first got to Brazil, we had us on P-Day, had us builders down there working on helping finish the building. And I'm a little ashamed of this, but I got to tell it anyway. See that steeple, that pillar to the left side of the building? Well, there was a ladder up against that, a tall ladder, and they had just put the mortar around the base of the spire, which you can't see, but it's way up there. And I went up the ladder, and there was this fresh, soft mortar. So I put my initials in it. I suspect they're still there to this day. And this is more of that wooded, steep cliff area where we took so many pictures of. And here we are in the fifth branch. We were teaching this lady, and that's the pulpit there behind us, teaching this lady, and the pews aren't in yet. No, the pews aren't in there. This was before they were in. And Elder Lever was asked to offer prayer, closing prayer or something. And this lady who we were teaching, who grew up in a different faith, went up just as he started to pray, closed his eyes, started to pray. She walked up. I opened one eye to see what was going on. And she got right up in front of him, right in front of the pulpit, and knelt down to worship Elder Lever. Anyway, after we had to explain to her that we didn't do that in our church. Igreja de Jesus Cristo dos Santos dos Últimos Dias. Took me a while so I could say that right. Again, that's that great big cemetery in Brazil. And here was where that anthill, picture of the anthill. Here's the guy who took us and my companion Elder Lever, and we went fishing. And like I said, I don't remember catching anything. But it was a good outing. It was a great day. Oh, this is Santa Cruz do Sul, this little bitty fishing village built in the late 1500s. It's really ancient part of Brazil. One of the first settlements in Brazil. Maybe the first settlement in Brazil. And this is that ship that we went on board where the guy stuck a knife to my neck. And there's the, it's backwards. San Leandro, maybe. I don't know what it's San Leandro. I don't know. Anyway, well, you can see time shifts around. Here we are, Holden Hook in Anton Larsen Bay on Kodiak. Funny, I should even remember where that is. Oh, this is quite a story. So I'm in the Coast Guard, a boat called the Sea Mill. Crashed on the rocks, and that's all we could find of it. Yeah, no survivors. Anyway. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. This looks like, this is a trip from Kodiak. Me and some of my buddies in the Coast Guard decided to go hunting down at Wide Bay. And we had a Grumman goose come down and pick us up. We thought we were going to have a goose full of moose. But instead we had a goose full of caribou, or one caribou, and three tired hunters, three of us. That's a hole there in the dirt is Kodiak, how a bear hibernates in the winter in that desolate country. And he's in that hole probably as we speak. And here's a couple of moose out on the flats. Moose, I'm sorry. Did I say moose? I meant bear. Anyway, bear out on the flats. We chased him around the helicopter a lot. This is the Coast Guard cutter Confidence on a trip down to the South Alaska Peninsula looking for a C-124 Globemaster that had disappeared, gone off the radar and gone off the radio, and nobody knew. And let me see if there's more pictures about this. Anyway, during this little trip, I got a little special picture and a special award for being on the helicopter that made the 500th landing on the Coast Guard cutter Confidence. Oh yeah, this is the caribou. This is the hunt trip down in Wide Bay again. That would be me. Disgusting. That's a caribou that I didn't shoot, that one of the guys shot, and we had to lug it 7 miles down the beach to get it back, and we really didn't want, and I didn't like caribou meat. Blowbush blueberries, and so it was great to stop and get a snack. And this is all down near in the Wide Bay area. I think this is the camp we made. It used to be some oil wells in Wide Bay, and we set up a camp underneath a kind of a tin roof that was still standing, but there were no walls. We tried to get in this cabin. We couldn't get in. They had locked it, bolted it, nailed it shut. I mean, it was real private property. But to the right back there was a sort of cabin that we pitched our tents in, and pretty near burned it down completely by the time we were done accidentally. This was having a Wide Bay again, trying to get across this lagoon. And so we rolled a bunch of driftwood logs down the beach and made a raft. And this was our trip across. And that's Mike Ainsworth. He was my crew member for a year, and I think he might have fished with my dad for a year after we got out of the Coast Guard. And there's our voyage across. Yeah, here was our meager camp. And there were a lot of old oil-soaked tarps around. So we hung these tarps around the walls to try and get ourselves some shelter. And then we built a fire in a 50-gallon drum, and we kind of draped the tarps around the 50-gallon drum so we'd have a warm spot. And we did. We fixed our dinner, and then we went to bed. And then I woke up by seeing the place get light. And I went, what the heck? And I looked out of my sleeping bag, and that tarp around the stove was on fire, and the flames were ripping all the way up to the ceiling and going underneath the ceiling, which was tin. Anyway, we got the fire out, and we got soaking wet in the process, running with pots and pans down the creek and tearing down the tarp, and then went back to bed, and we didn't have the fire completely out, apparently. And an hour or so later, the whole thing caught on fire again. This time it burned holes in our sleeping bags, our pack sacks, and our tents, and it was not a very fun hunt trip. Here is my dad fishing herring with one of his crew members, Greg Curley. Quite a story, Greg. Don't think I'll share it all now. There's Greg again. This is Geographic Harbor looking up one of the cliffy mountains on the Alaska Peninsula. And I'd say it's a whale, but that's on the mainland. You can tell by the white that looks like snow, but it's not. Volcanic ash. And fishing, this is probably good. This is fishing salmon, I don't think herring, because Dad's not in the crow's nest. And this is probably in Anton Larson Bay, and Garth Tyler is probably his crewman. Skiff man. Here they are back on the amazing Alaska Peninsula, the white sandy beach, the white sand in the mountains, and the green alder brush, which isn't quite all that green right there. It must have been one of those hard winters. And fishing. These might have been pictures my dad took, and I don't know what I'm looking at here. Oh, well, I know what that is. That's trying to catch a porpoise, trying to catch a picture of a porpoise, but they move too fast. And Oz usually gets a little splash. But there's more of that volcanic ash. Well, there's our cabin back in Wide Bay from our hunting trip. That's a bear swimming across Shuyak Straits. It's about 3 miles across there. And that bear is swimming across there. Very amazing. There we go. I captured a sneeze. And more of Kodiak. Boating more of the Alaska Peninsula. Again, that's some of it's snow on the very tops, I think, but mostly it's not snow. It just looks like snow. Oh, I'm back hunting again. There's that caribou. I packed those 2 hindquarters for 7 miles. There was a floating processor in Kukak Bay that was processing chums and caught on fire, and some people died in that one. They couldn't get out of the engine room because the portholes was too small. Back to that bear, back to seining. There's that processor on fire. Wasn't much we could do to help. They were in big trouble. So we took a bunch of pictures of it anyway. What in the heck am I looking at? I'm back in the Coast Guard. That's a helicopter. And I do not know where we are, but we could be anywhere. I don't know where we are. Oh boy, this looks like I'm in Peru. That looks like a typical wreck. Oh, I am in Peru. This is a good place to stop. And Richard will come over and show me how to get it stopped. We go one more picture. I'll go one more picture. Yeah, more Peru landscape. Okay, let's stop this one.